This evening has seen an unprecedented development in Maharashtra. Former Mumbai Police Commissioner and present DG of Home Guards Parambir Singh has written a damaging letter to the Maharashtra Chief Minister. In that letter, he has accused the Home Minister of the state, Anil Deshmukh, of running an extortion racket. He has said that the Home Minister asked Sachin Waze to mop up 100 crores as hafta or bribes from various sources, 40 to 50 crores from restaurants and bars, and the rest from other sources. More damagingly to the Maharashtra government, he has alleged that he brought Anil Deshmukh's misdeeds to the notice of the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister, and NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar. Now, we thought the Mukesh Ambani explosives case was unprecedented. It's seen so many twists and turns. It's a crime story unlike anything you have seen before. And now comes this other twist. After claiming the scalp of Parambir Singh, will the Home Minister be next in line in this case? To discuss that and more, joining us, Anay Joglekar, senior journalist, S. Balakrishnan, advocate and senior journalist, Tanvi Shukla, news editor, and my colleague here, Mahesh Tapse, spokesperson of the NCP, will join us briefly. My colleagues Mayuresh and Santya, who've been tracking this case from the very first day, also joining us. But if I can start off with you, Tanvi, extremely damaging letter, extremely explosive. Just what are the main highlights, the main takeaways from this?
Well, Aarti, the letter essentially starts off with what's happened in the last few days and how, as the Ambani explosive case became bigger and the charges became serious, he was transferred and he followed those orders. He went and took charge in his new position, but he's now breaking his silence because of certain things that have been said about him, and specifically certain comments that were made by the Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh in a recent interview. And according to this letter, that seems to be one of the reasons why Parambir Singh is now breaking his silence. So in terms of big takeaways, the first is, like you pointed out, the fact that Home Minister Anil Deshmukh allegedly used to repeatedly call Sachin Waze, the API, to his residence, and that on multiple occasions he gave this instruction to Sachin Waze that you need to start collecting funds. His target was 100 crore. He had a simple math allegedly that he put out saying 1750 restaurants and bars, and then there are hookah bars, and then you can look at other sources. And on a monthly basis, if you raise 40 to 50 crore, you should, 40 to 50 lakh, you should reach that point very quickly. So there was an entire detailed discussion allegedly that happened that Sachin Waze then came and told Parambir Singh about. Now, he doesn't just stop here. The former Mumbai Police Commissioner then also goes on to name ACP Patil and says that ACP Patil too was similarly called and given instructions. In fact, he claims that both these cops and junior cops actually had conversations between themselves about what the Maharashtra minister was allegedly asking them to do and pressurizing them to do in running this extortion racket across the city of Mumbai. And because they were in a predicament, they then came and spoke to the police commissioner. Now, the other important aspect, Aarti, that comes out from this letter, which has huge repercussions politically as well, is the fact that the former police commissioner claims he told the chief minister about the alleged malpractices that were going on, these shady dealings and what was being asked. He allegedly, in a meeting at Varsha in mid-March, told the chief minister, separately in meetings told the deputy chief minister, even told Sharad Pawar and other ministers, and claims that when I was telling this to some of these other ministers, they seem to react in a way that they already knew about these malpractices. Now, that is something that's going to put the entire government in a dock then, Aarti, not just the Maharashtra Home Minister.
Well, absolutely. And Mayuresh, what are you picking up from the NCP camp so far? We saw one tweet from Anil Deshmukh himself, almost like a preemptive strike, saying all these allegations against him are false. It's an attempt by Parambir Singh himself to protect himself, to shield himself. Any information you're picking up from the NCP on how they're going to deal with this mega bomb?
NCP is completely silent. I did try to call all the top leaders of NCP from the state, but no one answered, and many numbers were switched off. We have been given to understand that the Sharad Pawar right now is in Agra, and there is a chance, it is still not confirmed, that tomorrow high-level meeting will get convened, or Sharad Pawar will call a kind of a meeting tomorrow regarding this particular issue. Because it was just 2 days back, Anil Deshmukh had gone to Delhi to meet Sharad Pawar. A 2-hour long meeting happened between Anil Deshmukh and Sharad Pawar. And now we are seeing that it's kind of a shell which has been launched by the Parambir Singh, where he had directly accused Home Minister of Maharashtra, Anil Deshmukh, where he's saying in his letter that Home Minister asked the officials from the police department to extort the money from the restaurant, pub, and the hookah parlors also.
Well, Mayuresh, in many ways now the Home Minister's continuance is almost untenable. Interestingly, you were talking about that meeting Sharad Pawar held. When he came out of that, he was asked about the continuance of both Parambir Singh and Home Minister, and talking about the murmurs of their imminent departure, and he said, this is news to me.
Absolutely, because in that meeting, somewhere the rumors were going on that there is a chance that after that meeting, Anil Deshmukh may resign due to this entire embarrassment of Antilia case where the Sachin Vaze's links have come up. But it didn't happen. And that's why Sharad Pawar clearly said that it is kind of a news for me. But yes, we are expecting some kind of action tomorrow. There's another aspect to it, as Aditya Thackeray has tested positive. We have been given to understand that the Uddhav Thackeray, Maharashtra CM, he has also gone into a quarantine for a few days. So it would be interesting to see that how Maharashtra government defends this particular thing, because earlier it was the Antilia case and Sachin Vaze's involvement. After removing Sachin Vaze from his position, Maharashtra government showed that we've done it. But now there are direct charges from a DG level officer on Maharashtra Home Minister. It is a big task in front of Uddhav Thackeray government. Back to you, Aarti.
Well, interesting time. It couldn't have come at the worst time to be testing positive, and now to be in home isolation at a time when you have to be seen and you have to, limit this damage that's been caused. Mayuresh, thanks so much for that. To all our guests joining us, thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. Anay Joglekar, if I can start with you. Now, it's not just Anil Deshmukh who has been targeted in this, but in many ways, he has dragged, Parambir Singh has dragged in virtually the who's who of the Maharashtra government. He said that he briefed the Chief Minister, he briefed the Deputy Chief Minister, and also Sharad Pawar in mid-March about what he says are the malpractices and the misdeeds of Anil Deshmukh.
Yes, these are very serious charges. The letter was written yesterday, and Parambir Singh has been saying that even Sharad Pawar and Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray were briefed, but no action was taken, and many of them were apparently aware of such things are been going on. Second and most important thing is he has also charged at Home Minister Anil Deshmukh that the suicide of Dadra Nagar Haveli Member of Parliament Mohan Delkar, and he was of the professional view that this suicide happened in Mumbai, but the abatement was in Dadra Nagar Haveli. But still Home Minister in a way forced him to register a case of abatement of suicide in Mumbai. So that is also a very serious charge. And most interesting thing is we have been told for last few days that the police commissioner Parambir Singh was made to resign because of his serious lapses in the Antilia bombs case, the explosive case. But on this issue, he has remained silent. So I am worrying that this letter by Parambir Singh shows that there is a serious kind of collusion between the bureaucracy and the government, and more skeletons are going to come from the cupboard in the next few days.
Well, more skeletons are expected, and we'll get to discussing perhaps what the implications are of this big development. But before that, if I could bring in my colleague Sandhya. Now, Sandhya, at the heart of this entire case is an explosives case, a scare outside Mukesh Ambani's residence, one of the most high-profile places in Mumbai, and the death of a man linked to it. In both these cases, the NIA and the ATS are yet to establish why this has happened.
Yes, absolutely, Aarti. So, if we talk about the developments made by these agencies, we have a state agency, we have a central agency, we actually had a state agency till today. What Maharashtra ATS was looking after was initially for 2 days, because as far as Ambani Gelatin bomb scare cases, the state had that case for 2 days. But Maharashtra did have the investigation of Mansukh Hiren murder case till today. It was on 6th of March that the agency got the investigation. But till today, there was absolutely no breakthrough made by the agency. In fact, despite Mansukh Hiran's wife in her statement explaining and accusing Sachin Waze of murdering her husband, Sachin Waze was looked at just as a suspect by Maharashtra ATS. Though he was questioned on one occasion, but that was more or less about him being the former IO in Ambani bomb threat case, which was actually connected with the death of Mansukh Hiran, with Mansukh Hiran's death here.
Right.
But apart from that, he was not made an accused. And it was only day before yesterday that ATS started coming out and saying that now they have some evidences to show that Sachin Waze is an accused. They referred to CCTV footages saying that the footages stating that he met the deceased. So all those things. But if you talk about NIA, despite making some developments about how did it happen, who did it do, was it done, why was it done is something NIA also has no
True,
answer.
we still have no answers. Sandhya, thanks so much for that. Mahesh Tapse of the NCP joins us on the phone line. Mr. Tapse, when can we expect the resignation of Anil Deshmukh?
From today evening, I have seen an unsigned letter of almost 8 pages doing the rounds of the social media. So I would like to read this some aspects of the letter. I would like to straight away go to point number 5, in which Mr. Parambir Singh is saying that Mr. Anil Deshmukh, the Home Minister, in his exclusive interview to Lokmat, he said that there were some serious lapses committed by Mumbai police. So has this triggered of the entire episode? That is question number 1. Now, point number 6. Here he is saying that I met Honorable Chief Minister at Varsha, and since mid-March 2021, he has been telling that certain gross negligences have been happening. In point number 7, Mr. Singh says that Mr. Sachin Waze was called by Anil Deshmukh, Home Minister, to his official residence several times in the past few months and repeatedly instructed to assist in collection of funds. Several times in the past few months and repeatedly instructed to assist in collection of funds. Now in point number 8, he says Mr. Waze came to my office the same day. Now which day is this? If this thing was happened earlier in past so many months, so in point number 8, Mr. Singh says Mr. Waze came to my office the same day. Now which day is this? Then in point number 9, he said a few days later, ACP Mr. Patil and Mr. Bhujbal were called by the Home Minister, but he did not meet them. The Home Minister did not meet them. Only his private secretary, Mr. Palande, went and told them that such and such a thing has to be happening. So I do not know what is the truth. But nevertheless, this kind of a letter seems to be doing its rounds in the media, and it has created a kind of political controversy. Let me assure you that at the outset, the Home Minister has outrightly rejected the claims made in this letter. So you can, if you read the letter point by point, you will also realize there are some discrepancies. It is a very vague letter. There is no substance in the letter. So let us wait and see what happens.
Okay, Mr. Tapase, you mentioned up to point number 9, but I also want to talk about point number 10, where you just stopped right before that. Parambir Singh has text messages that he has exchanged with ACP Patil, in which they're talking about bars and restaurants that the Home Minister wanted him to target, almost like a rate card about how much money had to be extorted from these bars and restaurants. He says, in order to remind myself about the exact conversation that I had with ACP Patil, I messaged him on 16th March, and he has reconfirmed the aforesaid date and details to me on message on 16th March and 19th March, and he goes on to reproduce that.
My question over here is very simple. In point number 7, Honorable Mr. Singh says that the Home Minister had been calling Mr. Waze several times in the past few months, and repeatedly instructed to assist in collection through whatever means. In point number 7, he is also mentioning 1750 bars and 2-3 lakh rupees, blah, 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 blah. So why this thing has been kept under the carpet for such a long time? That is the question. And why suddenly, all of a sudden, this thing has come into the public forum? And if it has come into the public forum, then rightly is Mr. Singh going to speak about it. I have high regards for the gentleman. He has been a good officer of the Maharashtra cadre. But this seems to be total vague and out of context. If we have something substantial to prove, then this letter, the way the letter has been written, seems slightly vague and not expected from an officer of the likes of Mr. Singh.
Well, Mr. Thabase, one final question. Let's assume that there are gaps in what he's saying. Let's assume, as you are saying, that there are discrepancies. Let's assume, and I think it's a fairly valid question about why Parambir Singh has been silent for this longer time. But in the interest of a fair probe, when such grave allegations have been made against him, can the Home Minister continue to be in office if he is going to be investigated?
First of all, these are baseless allegations and they have been outrightly rejected by the Home Minister himself. The allegations are in the political domain. The BJP has been trying to unstabilize the Maha Vikas Aghadi government from the last 1.5 years. Who knows that there might be some kind of a pressure from the central agencies themselves probing the Antilia and Mansukh Hiren's episode. So who knows? I'm not making any allegation, but I'm just a citizen like me, just a small thought has just touched my mind. So who knows what's happening behind the curtains? Even that should be probed in time to come.
Well, Anil Deshmukh has tweeted, but we should still wait for a response from both Ajit Pawar and Sharad Pawar because he's dragged in the two of them in this letter as well. Mahesh Dapse, if you can stay with us for just a minute, if I can go across to...
Sorry, I have 2 minutes
sure,
at the back.
sure, no
Sorry.
problem, no problem. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Mr. Balakrishnan, you heard what the NCP has to say. This is your initial defense. Does it cut any ice?
It's perfectly disgraceful. It's completely disgraceful that the NCP is actually defending Mr. Anil Deshmukh. This man should have been sacked immediately within 1 hour of Parambir Singh's letter reaching the chief minister. Instead of that, all kind of convoluted reasons are being trotted out to defend Mr. Anil Deshmukh. Mr. Anil Deshmukh has brought the Maharashtra police in disgrace and the Mumbai police in disgrace by his conduct. Just imagine it is not some ordinary person who's making this extremely serious allegation against him. It is a sitting senior IPS officer of the rank of the Director General and also a man who was the Mumbai Police Commissioner until 48 hours ago. He has put it on record. He has put it on record that 100 crores was extortion was demanded by Anil Deshmukh from Sachin Vaze. Now the question is, only a few weeks back, one of my friends who owns a bar in central Mumbai, he called up saying that the rate of hafta has gone out. I don't know how I'm going to sustain my business. Actually, whatever Mr. Singh has said, it was all known to everybody. People who were in touch with the police, people who are in the hotel business, everybody knew that the culture of hafta is very, very prevalent in whole of Maharashtra and in Mumbai even more. Mm-hmm. There are people who are regular collectors. Last month, there was a public disclosure of a deputy commissioner of police of Thane, who himself owns 3 or 4 ladies bars, who is using restaurant prostitutes and all that, and then extorting huge money. No action, and that gentleman does not have the guts to file a defamation suit. Whatever has happened, Mr. Parambir Singh has only put it on record, this culture of corruption, which is so very predominant in Mumbai police in particular, not only collecting hafta, even to get a posting. If you want a posting as a senior inspector of BB Marg police station, you have to pay several crores of rupees because that is where the maximum number of brothels are here in Mumbai. If you want a posting in Dongri, you have to pay X amount of money because that is why the drug rackets are kind of prevailing. This is the culture of the post, senior inspector and ACP post, divisional post. They're all being auctioned. Even deputy commissioners, they have to collect money and then kind of send it upwards. In this kind of a culture, I'm not surprised that whatever Mr. Parambir Singh has said, every word of is true about the corruption aspect. Mm-hmm. Only when Mr. R.R. Patil was a deputy chief minister and also in charge of home department, there was no auctioning of the post of crucial posts in Mumbai police or even in Thane and then other places. But barring that, overall Maharashtra has been seeing a total decline. The culture of money, the culture of corruption has been dominating the scene in Mumbai for the past many years. Now you take the case of one very, very senior IPS officer against whom Mr. Sanjay Barve has put it on record about his corruption, about serious allegations against him. And this gentleman is no less than Mr. Deven Bharati, who was heading the anti-terrorist squad until recently. Mr. Sanjay Pandey, one of the cleanest IPS officer who has been completely sidelined because of the crime of being honest. He was asked by Uddhav Thackeray to investigate into allegation against Devan Bharati, and my information is that he has confirmed each and every one of these allegations. But till now, there is no action against him. When
Right.
Devendra Fadnavis was the chief minister, the same allegations were there against Devan Bharati. He did not anything. And Devendra Fadnavis, as leader of opposition, had accused Ajit Pawar of 90,000 crore corruption. Vijay Kumar Gavit of 6,000 crore corruption. What did he do? Nothing. On the contrary, when the whole of Maharashtra was sleeping, Devendra Fadnavis joined hands with Ajit Pawar, rushed to Raj Bhavan and got himself appointed as the chief minister and then deputy chief minister.
Well,
This
Mr.
is a
Balakrishnan-
disgraceful state of affairs in Maharashtra.
Well, Mr. Balakrishnan, you've raised some very, very valid points. And in a short while, we're going to be joined by Prem Kishan Jha, former additional Director General of the Police of Maharashtra, and also Ram Kadam of the BJP. Perhaps you can put these points to them because we need to dwell into this. Tanvi, it's something that you've spoken about multiple times as well, right? This hafta culture in Mumbai. The fact that this is in many ways Mumbai's worst kept secret because everybody knows about this, but yet there is almost a silence, this omerta about something that happens so frequently.
When you say everybody knows about it, Aarti, it's almost like a Bollywood film, right? That we've seen so many times. All of these movies and TV shows based in Mumbai. You have dirty cops, you have netas involved, you have the Hafta racket, the extortion money, targets being set up to 100 crores, and you have a murder in this case. There are also explosives and big fancy cars. I mean, this is a classic Mumbai crime masala story that unfortunately is real and is really now step by step exposing the rot that exists in the system and a nexus that allegedly exists in the system. And Aarti, we were listening to what Mahesh Tapase had to say as the defense, and of course that's all he can do, deny the allegations until there is a decision made. But for me, what is very, very concerning is not only is the state home minister being named by the former Mumbai police chief, he is also saying that the chief minister and the deputy chief minister Ajit Pawar were told about it. He's also saying Sharad Pawar knew about it, and he's also saying that other ministers did. Now, while yes, Parambir Singh needs to come out and explain why he didn't do anything earlier, it couldn't be that just after the Ambani explosives case, all of this came to the fore. Like he said, there have been repeated meetings allegedly between Sachin Waze and Anil Deshmukh, and he was called to his residence multiple times. So, did he raise his voice before this Ambani's case? And if the chief minister and the deputy chief minister knew about it, why haven't they done anything? Was Parambir Singh the only victim here?
Correct. We can ask why is Parambir Singh silent? Why has he waited for this moment to talk? But that does not shield either the chief minister, the deputy chief minister, or Sharad Pawar in any way, because they are still they are the ones who have to answer as much as the home minister, because they knew about it, and that same question can be put to them. Why were they silent? Just like Parambir Singh has been silent for this long. Prem Kishan Jain, the former additional director general of the Maharashtra Police, joins us. Mr. Jain, not a good time for the Mumbai Police. Their reputation has been tarnished. I don't know if you managed to listen to Mr. Balakrishnan there, who was laying out for all our viewers the dirty secrets of the Mumbai Police.
Absolutely. I have nothing to say as far as these revelations are concerned. I think whatever was always said and discussed in shadows is now come out in the open. Now, the only thing which, I was listening to the discussion, why Parambir Singh kept quiet, because the police is a state subject. All policemen, all police officers work under the thumbs of the politicians. See, the moment he would have opened his mouth as police commissioner, he would have lost that job. So he is a human being eventually. Now, till the time he was transferred under the garb of administrative changes, he probably accepted it, went and took over the charge of DG Home Guards. But the moment Home Minister started indicting him, saying that he had made grave mistakes, he had made unpardonable mistakes and things like that, then he hit back. Then he hit back because his own personal reputation was called to question. Now, in this case, Parambir Singh has very specifically named the dates, the persons in whose presence this entire conversation took place. There's enough material on record, and then he also immediately went and briefed the chief minister, the deputy chief minister, and the party chief. It is a fit case for a registration of a case under the Anti-Corruption Act and to be given to an independent agency. Maharashtra government should be magnanimous in handing over this investigation to CBI. But again, they will bring in a question of the party politics and the ego problems, and that the CBI will not be able to do justice and all that. But something has to be done. This probe cannot stay in Maharashtra because all parties involved in the government today are involved in this murky affair. And it will not see, and the investigation will not go any further if the investigation stays in Maharashtra under the same Home Minister, if the Home Minister does not go. I mean, you apply a different standard to the police commissioner. You say that for a fair probe, he has been removed. The same principle should apply to the Home Minister, who controls the Home Department. It's a very, very sad day for Maharashtra police. It's a very sad day for Maharashtra government. It's a very sad day for Maharashtra state that we have come to this level that the Home Minister goes about extorting money through the police officers. Second thing I would like to say that this case should not be clubbed with the finding of vehicle and guillotine outside Ambani's house, because there the entire probe was pointing to a different direction. By this expose, because Parambir was removed and subsequently hit back, this expose should not derail that particular investigation, because that investigation was pointing in a different direction altogether. It's a very, very murky affair. I think somebody somebody absolutely above board has to supervise these investigations.
Balakrishna, you wanted to come in here. I'm just going to, just let me throw one question to you and you can perhaps even respond to what Mr. Jain was saying. Very interestingly, in this letter, there aren't too many references to the Ambani case. There is only one reference, and tell me if I'm reading perhaps too much into it. While he says Sachin Waze was asked to collect 40 to 50 crores from bars and restaurants, he said collect the rest from other sources. Also, that meeting in mid-March, which he said he went and briefed the Chief Minister in, he said he had gone to brief the Chief Minister about developments in the Antila case.
Hello?
Mr. Balakrishna, if you can hear me?
Yeah. See, it is very, very interesting. I am glad you brought this to your notice, because the kind of amount of money that was Sachin Waze was expected to generate, it is impossible to generate even with the existing bars and restaurants and all those things and all that. The question is whether the target which was given to him was so huge that he, in cohort with other people, tried to target Mr. Mukesh Ambani in a huge case of extortion, so that once for all he will be able to generate sufficient funds which will be able to satisfy his political bosses. Definitely there is a link between the allegation level by Parambir Singh against Mr. Anil Deshmukh and with the Antilia case. Because the Antilia entire operation, what was the motive? The motive was simple and straight: extortion from Mukesh Ambani, the richest man of India. And it's a different matter that Sachin Waze and his other co-conspirators went about it in an extremely clumsy manner. But having said that, the question is, here we have cops, here we have a home minister behaving like ordinary criminals. Their mentality is totally criminal mentality, extort money. But then the other question is, for whom did Mr. Anil Deshmukh wanted 100 crores every month?
Yes. That is very true. What was Anil Deshmukh collecting this money for? I mean, it's obviously not his personal use. Ram Kadam of the BJP joins us. Mr. Kadam, do you, like Mr. Balakrishna, do you agree with him when you say that there is... Yeah, Mr. Balakrishna, do you agree that there is a linkage between this Antila case as well as this extortion racket that was running right under the nose of the Chief Minister?
I am surprised why did not bring it to the notice of the Chief Minister, because he was so close to him.
I have a great respect for Mr. Balakrishnan. He was a senior journalist, and what he said is 100% right. And before him, earlier what Mr. P.K. Jain said, today is a sad day for Maharashtra, today is a sad day for the Mumbai police. See, this act of extortion is extremely deplorable. The way Maharashtra government handled this whole conspiracy, that was suspicious from the day one. Since last 24 days, we were demanding Maharashtra government that Maharashtra government should take some action. Till now, till today, they have not taken Mr. Waze's name in Mansukh murder case. All of a sudden, today they woke up and today they asked ATS officers that asked Waze's custody. As I last time also, when I came to your debate, I mentioned that time, the more skeleton will tumble out of this closet soon.
Absolutely.
And today,
Absolutely.
and today is the day. See, when sitting on a chair, Home Minister ordered such a junior officer to collect, I don't say collect, extort, 100 crore rupees a month. This government is in ruling since last 16 months. Means such a small officer has already given 1600 crore rupees to the Home Minister. Then naturally, the way Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Uddhav ji, defended Mr. Waze in the assembly, not only defended, very aggressively defended. And one step further, he said Waze is not Mr. Bin Laden. And the way the whole Samna editorials, almost every day, defending Waze. This all are evident. And this all shows that this Maharashtra government was trying to protect Mr. Waze. Why? He will reveal the real story of the extortion, and which story today come out in the public domain. Now we demand Mr. Home Minister should not be there on his seat. He has to step down on an immediate effect. Not only Home Minister, when Chief Minister of Maharashtra has defended Mr. Waze, so he is also part of it. So on a moral ground, both of them should step down.
Coming in from the BJP, Anay Joglekar, if I can come to you, it is increasingly clear that the position of Anil Deshmukh is untenable. In fact, till now, we haven't heard any senior member of the government come out and defend him. A short while ago, Sanjay Raut, who's usually ready to give a bite on anything, was asked about this case, and he said, I don't have any information yet. Please allow senior members of the government to talk about this. What does this mean for the government of Maharashtra going forward?
I believe that the Cold War that was brewing between Shiv Sena and NCP is coming out in open. We have to understand that 1.5 years back, both these parties formed this government, which was a quite unnatural alliance. And Sharad Pawar and particularly NCP is obsessed with keeping Home Ministry with itself. Whenever they were in power with Congress for 15 years, always the Home Ministry was with NCP. And even in this government, Sharad Pawar kept the Home Ministry with NCP. But still we are seeing that Shiv Sena in its way was trying to have some kind of a control over the police officers appointed in the city of Mumbai and looking at the BMC elections ahead. And now when Parambir Singh has written a letter, and like Mr. Mahesh Tapase said that it is an unsigned letter, we need to get a confirmation from Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray whether this letter is genuine or not. And now the tourism minister, Mr. Aditya Thackeray, has tested COVID positive, so he is not responding. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has gone into quarantine, so he is not responding. And if you look at the letter by Parambir Singh, almost the entire blame is put on the NCP leaders. And in a way, he has mentioned Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray only once, that in mid-March he informed Chief Minister. But other than that, nowhere Shiv Sena's reference is there. But if you look back, Parambir Singh was appointed as a commissioner. It was said that Shiv Sena was very keen to have him as the commissioner of Mumbai, because before that he was commissioner in Thane. Shiv Sena played an important role in having Sachin Waze, and they created an excuse that because of COVID, not many police forces are reporting to duty, and that's why you need to take people. But whom they took? Sachin Waze, who was part of Shiv Sena. And while all these things are there, and we are still finding out who was involved in keeping that Scorpio, explosive laden Scorpio outside Antilia, and then Parambir Singh is only talking about the extortion part. So it looks like the Cold War is coming out in fun. And in the next week, it's like a Holi before a week before Holi, and so we are going to see a lot more mudslinging between these two parties, and it may impact the stability of the government also.
Well, Anna, it's more like Diwali with all these bombs going off, literally, Tanvi. If I could just digress a little into another very interesting aspect that I found in this letter. They're talking in mid-March about this extortion racket at a time when all the bars were actually supposed to be shut, at the time when, bars and restaurants were had to have these very strict deadlines in which they were to operate. And as we have seen in Mumbai, obviously, none of them are following those rules. So there could be that angle as well.
Oh yes, absolutely, Aarti, because last 1 year has all been about after the partial restriction were lifted, about restaurants opening, following night curfew timings, specific timings, about we've been repeatedly asking why are we not making the restaurants follow the rules, why is there crowding at the restaurants, why are people thronging in large numbers and nobody is making these restaurants accountable. Now that is also something that the government will have to answer us. Is the reason why some of these big restaurants were getting away with flouting of norms is because the cops and the ministers were in their pocket, because they were already giving some amount of monthly hafta to these cops and to the local authorities. So yes, and especially in times like this, imagine the gravity of what the charge that is being made here. Not only is it about corruption and extortion and hafta money, it's also about putting lives of people at risk.
Absolutely.
And derailing our entire battle against coronavirus, because you will let off people easily, you'll let off restaurants and bars easily as long as they are paying you the money that you want as collecting money from various sources. So Aarti, it's a very, very valid question that the state government today needs to answer. I don't know who will, because the Home Minister definitely needs to now give us an explanation on what happened. They need to figure out whether he should continue in this post while there is an investigation going on. How can he be the Home Minister? The Chief Minister's son, or minister in the cabinet right now, has tested positive for COVID. Essentially means that the Thackeray's will have to go into a quarantine, get tested. So in all of this, who's going to be answering our questions? One remains to be seen within the government.
Well, it couldn't have come at a worse time for Aditya Thackeray, for Uddhav Thackeray, with all these questions piling up on them. Ram Kadam, a short while ago, we were speaking to the NCP, Mahesh Tapse, but obviously, I just want to mention here that all the people from the NCP, senior leaders, as my colleague Mayuresh was telling us earlier, when we got in touch with them, none of them were willing to speak on record on this issue. But Mahesh Tapse raised 2 points, and I'd like a response to that. First of all, he said this letter is unsigned, and secondly, there are a lot of discrepancies and gaps in what he says are the timeline of events.
I would like to share one Hindi proverb. ऊपर से गिरे तो भी हमारी टांगे ऊपर. This government and NCP leaders should be shameful. The way, as we all remember, when NIA has recovered cash counting machine from Vaz's car, so we all wondered. The API whose salary must be not more than 40,000 rupees. Why he needed cash counting machine? And today we got the answer why he was needed. He was suspended for 16 years for the charges of extortion. Shiv Sena was behind Devendra Fadnavis ji when he was chief minister to reinstate Mr. Vaze. Devendra ji denied that. And the moment Shiv Sena came into power, immediately they appointed him. Not only appointed, the position he was holding, that position was the inspector rank position. He was just an API. They disgraded that rank and appointed him. The crystal clear intention was to extort the money. And all the three parties are part of it. So what NCP leaders are now commenting is baseless.
In fact, Aarti, I just want to add to what BJP is raising here for perspective for our viewers, and maybe Anaya or Mr. Bala can come in on this, is that while Sachin Vaze was being given instructions by the NCP leader and the NCP minister, one must also keep in mind that he has very, very deep and close connections with the Shiv Sena.
True, he was
and when he was suspended,
a member of the Shiv Sena.
Yes, when he was suspended from the police force and under investigation in those many years, he was a Shiv Sena party member, and Shiv Sena is the one, and this government brought him back. The BJP, and Ram Kadam was on our show earlier as well making this point, the BJP says, and Devendra Fadnavis said, that I was asked by Uddhav Thackeray to get Sachin Vaze back into the police force. That's the claim they have made. So while, yes, right now we're all focusing on NCP and an NCP minister and whether they were running the extortion racket, let's not forget that this cop is also somebody who had very, very close Shiv Sena links. Aarti?
Right. Mr. Balakrishnan, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah. See, the USP of Mr. Sachin Vaze, not that he was a Shiv Sainik, USP was He was a very good collector. He was a real collector of Mumbai. He knew whom to knock and then how much money to extort, whether it is a builders or with the gangland or whether it's a brothels or wherever. He knew the exact knack, the technique of knocking off money from people and then satisfying his political masters and his masters in the police force. The biggest tragedy of today's development is that the line dividing the underworld and the government has simply vanished today. Now, we feel as if it is a mafia which is ruling Maharashtra. So it raises a larger issue of law and order in this state, a larger issue of safety of each and every citizen of this beautiful and wonderful state, which has been gang raped by these corrupt officials, by these corrupt politicians, and then so many other people in the powers that be. It's a matter of perfect shame and disgrace that our state, such a beautiful state, the land of Chhatrapati Shivaji, has come down to its nadir, the lowest point ever in the history of Maharashtra, ever since it was founded in 1960. I'm saying this with enormous sadness in my heart, that the state where I was born, this is what it has come down to. Who is responsible for this? I think this calls for a collective effort on the part of citizens and former police officers like Mr. Ribeiro, who's unfortunately very silent when important development like this has happened. We should collectively come together and pull out our state from the morass, from the mess in which it finds itself today.
Well, Mr. Prem Krishna Jain, final word to you. This is the darkest chapter in Mumbai Police's history. This is unprecedented in many ways. For the Mumbai Police, how do they pick themselves up from here? And are we just going to see these token measures? Oh, we're going to clean up the Mumbai Police. We're going to follow the rules. There's going to be a probe on these dirty cops within the ranks.
See, till the time we have such dishonest politicians, corrupt politicians who want to extort money, who are removing the line between the criminals and the politicians and the government and the police, I don't think the situation is going to improve much. These are all, kind of top makeup that is being applied. But what is required is that everybody has to come clean and start from the scratch now. The officers will have to put in a very long stint of honest and dedicated police service to build up this reputation again. I mean, as I said, that we have been discussing about this kind of a corruption in the past. It has never come to the fore like this. I mean, with this letter, the things have become so damn clear in the corridors of power, what kind of corruption is going on and how the common man is taken for a ride and taken for granted. He does not get justice at any level. Now, this is the example of that. I think it will take a long time for the government of Maharashtra. And as Tanvi has very rightly pointed out, it is not only the NCP or the NCP minister. It is the ball also rests in the court of the Deputy Chief Minister, the Chief of the NCP, to whom these matters were reported. So it becomes a very, very long drawn. It will be very interesting to see as to how these parties respond. Everybody's gone into a shell now. It will be very interesting to see how do they respond and how do they come out of this kind of a logjam.
I think that's the important question. We've heard so much of lip service before about cleaning up the forces, but we actually haven't seen any action. The big question, of course, gentlemen, I need to wrap up. We're short on time, but the big question is why? Why has all of this happened? Why were these gelatin sticks planted outside Mukesh Ambani's residence? Why was Mansukh Hiran a victim in all of this? Why did Anil Deshmukh ask Sachin Vaze to mop up 100 crores, including 60 crores from other sources? These are the answers we're going to continue to ask. And the other big question, of course, is are we going to get a response from the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister and Sharad Pawar himself after they have also been dragged into one of the most embarrassing, darkest moments in Maharashtra's history?